Again, please use the microphones for the transcription. Coach.
Obviously, we're honored to play a great school like Loyola on a very special day, Memorial Day, for the national championship. I think it's a testament to the hard work of our players and what they've invested all year, coaching staff, and obviously our administration for what they've done for us to put us in this position. So we're excited to get back. I think like any other team that gets in the tournament, I don't think anybody plays for second place, so we're excited about trying to get there and finish this year. It's going to be a really tough challenge because, you know, when you play the #1 seed and the #1 team in the country, they pose a lot of problems. So we're going to have to play our best game of the year tomorrow.
Thank you. Do questions?
Coach Tillman was saying that you guys go way back, obviously, and it's not uncommon to see you on his couch, like playing around with kids, fixing the Christmas tree. Can you just kind of describe kind of the relationship you guys have had? And apparently, it was because you, the Hawkins, is there, right?
Yeah, I told Josh the game's at 9 tomorrow night. Buy that. Yeah, it's weird how kind of things circle back. When I was coaching in the Navy, I lived in Annapolis, and I lived a block from Coach Toomey and his family, and you know, Charlie is one of the finest people I know, and probably the closest friend that I have as a coach in the coaching business, and he's as good as they come in terms of character and just friendship, and what he does with his players on and off the field is impeccable. So he's a good coach. He's a better friend. His wife was very, very nice to me. She knew I was a bachelor, so I was invited over for dinner a lot, and I got to know his kids real well, and still get to spend a lot of time with them, and they're just great, great people. So it's a little bit awkward in certain ways, but all that being said, we realize, you know, what's at stake for both schools and for our guys, what they've invested. You know, we'll make sure that we're focused and doing what we need to do to try to win the game.
Patrick Stevens from the Washington Times. John, to build off the point on Hawkins, just what sort of a dangerous commodity is he for them, and just what sorts of problems does he present for opponents?
He kind of reminds me of Danny Burns. You know, he's a guy that is very competitive. He's very athletic. He's got great speed. He does a lot of things that Danny did, and Danny obviously was a really high draft pick and one of our captains last year. Exceptional speed, can defend the ball, can pick up ground balls, create transition, can score when needed, as you saw yesterday. So he's a very, very dangerous player. And what concerns you is that, you know, you can have two guys running down the field and you know, somebody like Justin, and if he kicks it in high gear, all of a sudden that becomes, you know, an unsettled where they have maybe one more guy in play than you. So we're going to have to account for his speed at all points on the field.
Lee Baltimore Sun for Joe and Niko. How surreal is it to be here at this stage when, you know, typically the usual thought is, you know, NCAA teams don't get this far?
Joe, you want to start?
Sure. You know, I think it's definitely a huge honor to have an opportunity to play again in the national championship. But you know, I think our focus is to treat it like, you know, it's any other game. The coach has done a great job of talking to us about trying to make our world smaller, and just focusing solely on the game, focusing just solely on our opponent, and not trying to make it any bigger than it is. That way we can play within, you know, ourselves, focus on what we need to do in order to win, and just have fun and enjoy being with our teammates and having an opportunity again to compete, you know, in, you know, what is Drew and I's, you know, final game as collegiate athletes.
Yeah, I'd like to reiterate what Joe said, but another thing is I don't really think we focus too much on seeds or us being unseeded. I mean, I think every team in the tournament, all 16 teams are very good teams, all capable of winning games, and you know, we're fortunate enough to be playing the last day of the season in college lacrosse, and you know, we're gonna try to make the most of that opportunity. We really respect Loyola, and you know, we don't really look at it as one seed versus unseeded, but just two good teams going at it and a championship lacrosse game.
John, at any point when you were either at Harvard or Maryland, did you think about scheduling Loyola, and how much do you try to avoid facing friends whenever possible?
I think I always look at what's best for the program, and to me that comes before anything else. Is these guys put so much time in, and we ask so much of them. Everything that we try to do has to be what's best for them or for a program to be successful. Haven't only been here about 22 months. The schedule, we've tweaked certain things, but we also have to be sensitive to some of the traditional rivalries that we've had. And then also, every year you kind of have to look at what the NCAA selection committee is doing and really gauge, all right, what do we need to do to change the schedule to put us in a position to have the strength schedule and RPI that we need to have, but also get to the areas that we need to get to for recruiting, for alumni, and then for fans. And strategically this year, we made some changes so we could get to areas like Philadelphia, because we feel like it's important for Niko to play in front of his family. And we've done very well there with Kevin Forrester and Gorin, some really important guys. And we picked up Stony Brook to try to get to Long Island because of just all of our alums, but all the great recruits and the kids that we have. So we feel like we're a national school. Our roster certainly reflects it. These three guys kind of embody that. So we've tried to go a little bit more national, and I think if we just stay so Maryland-based, I think it will hurt us. But you know, picking up Loyola gave us a better chance to be successful. We really have to look at it, and based on this year, it looks like they're going to be good for a really long time.
Gary Lambert, Lacrosse Magazine, for John and then Drew. Can you compare and contrast the different experience that year two has been with this collection of guys compared to year one, you know, when you came in with such a senior-dominated class, and just kind of take us down those two roads, and then I'd like Drew to kind of give his perspective on being on that team and obviously being a senior leader on this team.
Well, year two being at the university was helpful in that I obviously knew more about the school, just how it worked, everything from admissions to, you know, facilities, recruiting, you know, who to talk to about the things that we needed. So that was helpful. A lot of the returning players, you know, even though it was, you know, we lost 22 guys, a good number of those guys, I knew who they were, I knew their personality, and obviously the coaches, you know, having a year on our belt together, that was helpful, and not having to get in and then try to learn so much about our players in such a short amount of time. Those were the positives. The negatives was, for me, the way we had to coach this team had to be drastically different, and it's almost like taking over a new program to a certain extent. Like, we couldn't coach the guys the way we coached them last year because we really needed to take the temperature of our players, talk to them, trust them, and coach the way they needed us to coach them. Not the way we wanted to, but the way they needed us to. And that was something that every day, every week, we really had to be sensitive to. This has been a team that has really thrived when we pushed them, yet been very positive with them. And we've really tried to instill confidence and optimism and enthusiasm and excitement, and that's when these guys are best. Are we going to be critical at times? Sure. But I think these guys need to know, A, we believe in them and we trust them, and I want them to have fun and be loose, because when we play that way, we've been our best. And even the last couple weeks, even when we've traveled, the guys have been loose. They've been a little bit more loud. The bench has been nuts. But I think our play has reflected a lot of passion, a lot of spirit, a lot of energy. And you know, my general feeling is we can't curb that. We've actually got to foster that, because the kids are having a great time. And I think we're playing as well as we can play right now.
I think the main difference between this year and last year. Coach Tillman did a good job of coming in. Like you said, 22 seniors. That could be a delicate situation. If he comes in too hard, potentially have a rebellion on his hands. But he did a good job handling that situation. And I think that the difference is the players have changed, but we're still preaching the same stuff. Do good on the little things, and we always break our huddles down. The majority of the time, would be the best, and that's what we're striving to be.
Jeff Shannon inside Lacrosse. Niko, you have the advantage of having played in this game last year. Is there any thing we could take from that experience through this weekend and into that game tomorrow to just any angle or situation that's going to play out this weekend?
Yeah, I think the experience factor is pretty helpful from last year. But I think the most helpful part of being in the same situation as last year is, the days in between the games and the times leading up to the face-off, because, you really want to try to manage your emotions and, not spend too much energy before the game and just kind of peak at the right time. And also, just like in games like last night against Duke, you saw how frantic it was in the opening whistle. And I think, being in this game last year kind of helped me settle in and calm my nerves a little bit and help manage, some of the younger guys in the defense and whatnot, and like Joe and Drew and a couple of the other guys who have also played. I think we have good balance around the field that helps some of the younger guys settle in and be confident in themselves, and just remind them that, hey, we play against good players every day in practice, and we played against good teams before. So although Loyola is a very talented team and well coached, and we'll face them on Monday, we've also played good players before, and we should be used to it.
John Gillette inside Lacrosse. Coach, Eric Leslie's been so hot in this tournament. What have you seen out of him, and what's going to be the game plan?
Guy playing with a lot of confidence right now. I don't think I've ever seen two attackmen have as many shots as those guys have had combined for. I think it's over 260 shots. Grant Canalino had a pretty quick trigger last year, and he was around 100. They play a lot of games too. So he's playing with a lot of confidence. I think they have a lot of confidence in him. You can tell he's a fifth-year guy. He's shooting the ball really well. They do a lot of really good things to set up he and Sawyer to get their hands free. And I think he's got the green light. And I think sometimes you get into a little bit of the zone. And when you're feeling that way, you just got to keep feeding guys like that. But he's really crafty. He'll take what you give him. If you, like yesterday, he had popped out for a shot. Notre Dame guy, a little too aggressive, bad approach, dipped under, really smooth finish. Inside and catch and finish. There was another time where he caught it, another bad approach, got top side and shot it. So he can change his release points. He can shoot it in different spots. And a lot of it just comes from things out of the flow, so the ball doesn't die in their attempt to get it to him. He can just, get it out of ball movement, really kill you.
Coach, I think you made this, Loyola did a lot of inverting against Notre Dame yesterday, attacking that way. As a team, what's your strategy against when an opponent does that?
It'll depend. We'll watch a little more film. We stayed up late last night trying to really break down some different films. One of the films we watched was the Notre Dame game. Part of what we try to look at film is look at compared to maybe the Denver game, or Canisius or Hopkins, or obviously some of the other games we watch. Are they doing it because of Notre Dame's great defense, or is that who they are? And try to draw the parallels to, and maybe anticipate what will they do against us. Now we have to be ready for everything, yet we'll try to look and go, all right, do they play like us defensively? Because if they do, this is probably what we'll see. So we'll have a couple different plans, much like offense or the face-off X. We'll have a couple different ways we can defend what they're doing, depending on the personnel as well. Are they just basically maybe inverting to feed the ball? Are they, trying to score? Do we need to come early? Do we need to be a little bit more reserved? So there's a lot of different options that we have, and then we'll make some decisions tonight, and we'll have practice later. We'll do a walkthrough and talk about what we want to do there.
We'll do one or two more here.
John, can you, you're talking about Lusby and Sawyer, when the old pick your poison argument when you're coaching against that kind of talent, how does that play into your plan for this game? I mean, Eric is obviously on fire, Mike is not, and as a coach, do you say, well, do we roll to the hot guy, or do we don't let the giant wake up in Sawyer, or like how do you manage that as you're game planning?
Well, with us, and I'm sure Niko would back, so we talk about all the time defensively, we talk about 7 versus 6, and really with us, we know we're going to give up shots, and the goal for our defense is not to prevent shots. Our goal is to prevent, is to basically give up the shots that we want to give up. And a lot of times it's tough because, you play against athletic teams like Loyola or Duke yesterday. They force you to slide and they create things, and maybe you give up shots that are inside that make it difficult. We have so much confidence in Niko. If we can keep people out of the paint, which we call it, which is our inside area, we love our chances. You do have to be sensitive to the fact that there are certain guys that shoot the ball with room of time and from the perimeter better. But what you can't do is get away and be so concerned with those guys, because if you do, then all of a sudden the inside or maybe some other things might be open. And to be honest with you, we had some breakdowns yesterday defensively because we got a little too concerned with our matchups, and we got a little soft on the inside and some skips got through. So we have to be sensitive because we have so much respect for Michael and obviously for Lusby. But we can't focus everything on them, because watching them, they're good enough to know if you're going to focus on them, the other guys will get you. And whether it's Butts or Ward or whoever. So again, we'll try to defend the knowns as best we can, give up the shots we want to give up, because I know Niko will take care of business if we give him a chance.
Any more questions? Good. Great. Thanks, guys.